leaving the side of the pool. I'll leave that story for another time. Maybe I'll do it later on when I get back from vacation. The reason I'm not preaching upon what I was going to preach is about midweek, after we'd gotten through all the rains, I got in a better mood, just like a lot of you did. And just like this beautiful day, the days became so beautiful. And I knew that we're going to be emphasizing creation today and independence. And I just decided, no, I'll leave that for another time and let me concentrate on what's exactly the theme today. As a minister, I have a great privilege of having quite a bit of time to contemplate, meditate, and think. Not that you don't think or do things like that, but I get paid to do it. What was said over there, Glenn?
I said we need to find you a part-time job.
Okay. And it really is a great privilege. It goes right in with what I guess is part of my being. I love poetry, I love reading, and so I get paid to do what I really enjoy to do. And one of the most beautiful passages in the Bible is that first chapter from Genesis. And as I looked around the world this past few days, and even driving down here today, it's just awe-inspiring. Despite all the tragedy in this world, despite all the wars, despite all the maiming and wounding and killing, despite the hardships that many of us have gone through with cancer, with the loss of someone that we loved dearly, despite the pain and suffering that we've gone through, boy, you look at this world, the greenness of the fields as I drive out here. I don't know if it was Eric I was telling this to, but at Sugar Ridge and Stony Ridge, there's a beautiful field of corn despite all this rain. It's got to be up that high. Knee high by the 4th of July, that's no longer. It gets up that high now, usually with all the fertilizers and so on. And I realize there's a lot of yellow corn that's not going to produce much. The soybeans have hit harder than the corn was. The waters came up and a little bit came in here, and Pat and Julie and a whole lot of you people had to come in here and clean up. Things aren't perfect, but still, you see the greenness. Karen describing that winter tree with the ice on it. And you can't but be happy that you're alive. And you see all these colors in this world. And God did create this earth. And despite all the blackness, this is a wonderful place. I come in here today, and there's a guy with a striped red, white, and blue helmet on, dressed out, decked out in all the colors of Independence Day, with his bike, sitting in a rocking chair by bleakers. I came up to him introduced myself. He introduced himself. He's from Lindsay, 590, just off of Route 20 going north. And I don't know why I said to him, you know, we don't allow vagrants in this town.
You thought I was bad.
I probably ruined the reputation of Pemberville with those words. But he laughed. And we talked some more. And he just told me how great it is to ride down 105 and along the Portage River there and into here. Just the enjoyment of this world. How he was contemplating, meditating, thanking God. He's a Methodist for all that. Methodists thank God also, you know, for all that God had given to him and all that God has given to us. The earth was without form. Darkness over the face of the deep. There was a void. And God said, let there be light. And by gosh, there was light. And God separated the light from the darkness. And he called the light day. He called the darkness night. And it was evening and morning the first day. A void, nothingness. Nothing defined. To be in a formless void, to be lost like that. Something like Antarctica or out in the Sahara Desert, where nothing is defined to speak of. And then God gives substance with a light, separating it from the darkness. And he says, it's day. And he says, it's night. And it is. And the world begins. And God says, let there be a dome to separate the waters from above from the waters below. And it was so. And it was evening and morning, the second day. And God says, let us gather all the waters together and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And he called the dry land earth, and the waters he called the seas. And he said, let the earth bring forth fruit and vegetation. And it was so. And that's how the beans and the corn and the wheat and the trees and everything came about. And God said, it is good. And it was evening and morning, the third day. And the fourth day comes, and God puts the sun and the moon in the dome and the stars so that we know the seasons, so that we know the times. And again, he said, it is good. And the fourth day comes. And God, along with the dome, putting the stars and so on in here, puts into the sea all the great monsters of the sea and all the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. He does the sea and he does the air and fills it with beautiful, beautiful animals. And then comes the fifth day. And God puts things on the earth. Creepy things, the creeping things, the cattle, all the wild animals. And he says, be fruitful and multiply, and they do. And it's evening and morning, the fifth day. And the sixth day comes, and God creates you and me and all humankind in his own image, in his own image, after his likeness. What is that? We have a self-consciousness that we don't believe anything else in this world has. A self-consciousness that says, I'm Al Bauman. I was born in Fremont, Ohio. I grew up in Lakewood, Ohio. I went away out east to school. I ended up somehow becoming a minister in Baltimore, in Ypsilanti, in Sioux Falls, in Toledo. And the same for you, Jason, Linda. All given an identity, a unique identity, so different from all the other animals. And a self-consciousness, an ability to form a history, to form meaning out of this world like no other creature can. To be able to communicate, to talk, to organize ourselves in ways the wolves can and lions can, but not like us. This wonderful, wonderful world and the gifts that God has given to us, and especially the I, the identity that we have. What a gift these are. All given by God. You have anything to be thankful for? Sure you do. Despite death, despite cancer, all these things that's happened to you, despite that, this earth renews itself, you renew yourselves, God renews you. And most of all, even though you die and you go into the ground, God, through Christ, raises you up. He creates you all over again. The first creation. But the second creation. God is still creating. It didn't end billions and billions of years ago. God is creating today. Creating in all of you new life. And even in death, new life. That's what I'm thankful for. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. What beautiful words. Was it Bates? I think that's who wrote that poem. Taking time to contemplate, looking out over this world. That's what she did. Came up with those beautiful words. Just like the writer of Genesis came up with those beautiful words. Yeah, you all got to work, whether you get paid for it or not. But we all need to take time. Despite probably not getting the full crop of beans, despite not getting everything that we want, we need time just to sit like that bike rider upstairs this morning and just kind of take in the world in a rocking chair like he did in front of Bleeckers. Take that time. Thank God. And just look at this beautiful, beautiful creation. And this beautiful country, despite all the sin that we've done, despite all the wrongs that we've done, this beautiful country that he's given to us with its freedoms, with its rule by law. Thank God for all that we have received. But most especially, thank God that you're Kay, that you're Tammy, that you're Glenn, that you're Julie. That he's made you unique, the only one, the apple of his eye. Amen.